Hey everyone, it's Wolfgang. I want to talk today about setting rents. Make the most from your property, from your rental properties by setting rents correctly. I've actually run into this. We found our rents were low, 25% below the average in our zip code. So if you think about that, there's a high rent, there's a low rent, there's an average rent, 25% below the average. That's a mistake. And it's a mistake because landlords, our costs go up every year. And renters don't really know this. Our insurance goes up every year. Our property taxes go up every year. Maintenance costs go up every year because our staff, our payroll and vendors we hire become more expensive every year. All of these do. Sometimes the property taxes go up quite a bit, and sometimes the insurance can go up quite a bit. Renters don't know this. If you raise rents, some might suspect you're doing it because you're greedy. It's not true. You're trying to keep up with your expenses. Renters don't pay for property insurance. They don't pay property taxes. They don't pay for maintenance. So they don't really know what your costs are. Most landlords are not aware of the fact that when they raise rents, renters don't have enough information to know if what you're doing when you raise rents is rational and fair. And it is fair. Having rents 25% below the average in your zip code is a huge error. So how do you fix this? We want to make the most money from our rental properties, and we can fix it by starting with the top 2 or 3 online rental sites in your area. This can vary throughout the country. Different parts of the country, renters will use different websites, rental websites, to find a new apartment. So you should ask your tenants. And if you have a vacancy and you've got people coming through looking at a vacant unit, ask them also which rental websites they use. There's a lot of them out there. Some are popular in some parts of the country. Some are popular in other parts of the country. We want to know what is the dominant 2 or 3 websites, rental websites, tenants in your area are using to find a new apartment. Okay, and once you know what those are, start with those 2 or 3, search those rental sites for your zip code only. People tend to live in a zip code due to schools, to be close to their job, or because the area is familiar. And when we're going to do this work, we're going to try to find out how to set our rents. We don't want to look all over town because every neighborhood can be different. Every zip code can be different. And there can be differences inside zip codes too, depending on how much area they cover. So you find out the 2 to 3 most popular rental websites in your area. Search the rental sites in your zip code only for your apartment configuration. If you're renting out 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartments in your building, search on those in your zip code on the most popular rental sites. Match amenities. There are options you can select when you're looking for an apartment. You can specify, I need a garage. You can specify, I need in-unit laundry, that kind of thing. We're going to be searching these rental websites for the closest match possible to what we have, what we're renting. Okay, and then you will have some number of matches for that, for all that, for your zip code, for your amenities, and for your configuration of your apartment, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, etc. So once you've got that list in front of you on a spreadsheet or a piece of paper, list or write down all the rents for your configuration, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, for example. Just put them all in a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet's great because you can take an average quite easily. You can create a column of the rents that match, and at the bottom you can do an average. There's an average function inside spreadsheets. And then the next thing you want to do is repeat this, but take off the highest rent and the lowest rent and get the average again. So now you've got 2 averages, one with all of the matches for your zip code, your configuration, your amenities, and one that matches the same except the highest rent apartment and the lowest rent apartment is thrown out. Okay, so with those 2 averages, highest and lowest, you want to now repeat steps 3 and 4 for your specific type of property. Class A, if you've got a Class A building, Class B, if you have a Class B property, and so on, Class C, etc. We're trying to get a feel for what our zip code, our apartment looks like, what they're renting for. We're going to start at the 1,000-foot level, the big picture by just looking at all the matches. Then we're going to throw out the high and the low. And then we're going to throw out any type of building that doesn't match our property. If you have a Class C property, then you want to run 3 and 4 again on the Class C properties. And then you've got a full set of averages that you can use to figure out your rent. So what you want to do is compare your rent to the averages that you calculated. Okay? And if you are below average, like this person was, they were below average by 25%. You will slowly go broke if you fail to raise your rents. A lot of people don't like raising rents. I know a lot of landlords. I'm not like that. I'm a landlord. But I know landlords who don't like raising rents because they don't like the turnover. There's a problem. Your costs are going up every year. Insurance, property taxes, maintenance are going up every year. You cannot afford to fail to raise rents. And the first thing you want to do is get them back to at least average, right? If you cannot raise your rents, if you can't bring yourself to raise rents to the average based on these searches, the averages we calculated in these searches, really think about this, because getting a little bit of turnover helps you practice how to market your property, how to interact with people again. And the other thing about this is if your rents are low and you try to sell your property, the buyer will use your low rents to figure the value of the property. So you want to keep your rents up at least at the average, okay? So the thing is, the reason this is can be an issue for renters, whenever they get a rent increase, they don't really know, they don't have the understanding of what's happening. They have never paid property taxes, they have never paid insurance, they have never paid for maintenance. So you can tell them, you can say, look, I'm raising the rent, I did some research, I'm well below the average for this market, I've been giving everybody a good deal, and I'm suffering because all my costs are going up, that's why the rents are going up, if someone asks you. If you raise rents and you get a move-out notice, you can have the same conversation at that time with that person. Explain that you're not trying to get them to move out or something. Your costs are going up every year and you're slowly going broke. So if you have any questions about that, I think it's pretty straightforward. The part about the zip code may not be obvious. When you're placing a rental ad, and you're trying to figure out what to list the properties for, you might be looking all over the city. You really want to stick to your zip code. You really want to get specific. When realtors are selling a home, when they're putting homes up for sale on the multiple listing service, the type of search that people do is on zip code, because most people want to live near a school or a job, or they want to stay in the familiar area. So realtors know that being zip code specific is essential when they're listing the property. So in terms of knowing what to ask for the property with the comparables in the area. So I hope that helps. The bottom line is we've got to have rents that are paying us for all the work that we do. We take risk. Being landlords is there's a risk there. There's a lot of work to it. There can be. You've got to manage your staff. If you're doing all the work yourself, you're doing all the work, and that can take a lot of your time. So you deserve to get paid what the rents are. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is if your properties are disheveled, meaning they're not in good shape, fix that. And now that you've gone through this exercise and you know what your configuration with your amenities rents for in your zip code, you now have a target. You know that you can get at least the average rent if your properties are fixed up. If you put a little effort, a little bit of money into them and bring them up, raise them up to, you do a little bit of remodeling if you have to. If you put a disheveled property on the market for rent, you can only attract the type of tenant who is okay with poor conditions. And generally, those people need a place to rent too, but do you want to be the person renting to them, or do you want to leave that to someone else? That's a choice you have to make. Again, we're only trying to get at least to the average rent for our zip code. If you have a Class A property and you're not above average, that's a huge mistake. This is a Class A property is the highest level of quality of a rental unit. You should never be close to average. You should be closer to the top of the rental market. So just some things to keep in mind. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comments. We're trying to get paid for the investment we've made in our property, and we deserve to get paid. We might need to inform the tenants about what's going on with the rent increases. We're not trying to force anybody to move. We're trying to stay afloat. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. And I want to thank everyone for watching, and have a great day.